Okay, so we're here today to do a demonstration of oxalic acid treatments, and that's going to include dribbling of a syrup, vaporization of the crystals using the gas burner, and vaporizing the crystals using an electric battery operated one. Okay, so first things to go through a bit of safety. I suggest when you're using the syrup that you make sure you've got gloves on. Other than that, it's not particularly harmful. Don't drink it, don't get it in your eyes, but other than that, it's fairly safe. However, having said that, the gas ones that vaporize the crystals, you have to be careful that you don't breathe in the fumes, because although they're probably still, it's recrystallized as it comes out of the hive. If you breathe those crystals in, it's like taking in the acid. So what we suggest you use is a mask, and you really want one that's not the dust one, but is a chemical one, preferably with a visor that goes with it as well. But this is okay if you wear a pair of spectacles over your eyes. Okay, you need to make sure you don't breathe the fumes in. It's extremely dangerous. Okay, I would say that for people with maybe a couple of colonies, the trickle system is the best one. It's up to 90% effective under the right conditions. The gas ones are probably slightly better for that, but they're more expensive. A good, I mean, this is without a face visor, and that was 20 odd quid. You're going to have to buy the gas burners, which are about a tenner, maybe a little bit more depending on where you're getting them from. The battery operated ones, you're going to need a 12-volt battery, and you're going to need that, and they're quite expensive. I can't give you a price for those.
£100.
Yes, something in the region, maybe £100 for that system. So for 2 colonies, that's not really viable. That might be if you're going to continue keeping bees. You know, if it's a long-term thing, then it might be worth investing in that. A full face visor with a chemical mask is going to cost you about £100, so that is quite expensive to set up as well. So that's the safety issues looked at in a nutshell. Right, so today we're going to demonstrate how to dribble oxalic acid onto the bees in the colony, which hopefully will remove as many of the phthitic mites as possible. So, first job, take the top off. Right, we can see the cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There appears to be only 6 seams of bees. We're going to apply 5 millilitres of acid to each seam. Now if I show you this trickle, it's like a doser for it's like a doser for weed killer. This small area here holds 5 millilitres of the fluid. It's attached to the main body by this. Okay, so we've now got 5 millilitres in there, but we need to make sure that we're not draining from the major part of the bottle. So you always need to have it like that. So that allows us that 5 millilitres there to be disconnected from the main body of the bottle, and then we're going to go just run it straight across the top of them like that. Ideally you want to do it in one gentle stream. Looks like there's some there as well. So every seam of bees that you can see, you dribble 5 millilitres on. Okay. it makes it easy this, because you don't really have to look at it. You can just squeeze it and make sure that you get the right amount for every seam. The hardest thing is making sure that you know which ones you've already done. So keep your finger on the one that you want to do. Yeah, that's that one. We're trying to do this as quick as possible so as not exposing the bees to too much of the elements. It's not particularly nice today. Let's see whether there's more bees down there or not. Okay, so when you're doing this, you need to record the fact that you've done it and that you've used oxalic acid. And if you're using apibioxyl, I think there'll be a record on there of its sell by date and batch number. You need to record that as well. It's also a good idea to record the number of seams of bees that you've seen when you come to do it, because then you've got some idea of the size of the colony at that point in the winter. Thanks. At this time, we're hoping that there's very little sealed brood, because unfortunately that's where the ferritic mite, some of the ferritic mites will be. So if we've got very little sealed brood, which is ideally what should happen at this time of the year, but because of the weather situation that we're having, we can still get a bit of sealed brood, because the ferritic mites in the sealed brood are not attacked by the acid. And the idea is that the acid rots the mouth parts of the Varroa mite, thus stopping it from feeding and killing it. That's it, mate. So how many have we got on there? 1, 2, 3, 4 and a bit. Call it 5. 5 seams on it. And that's how long it takes. It's very quick.
Right, before we start, I'll just go through the vaporizer with you. This is made from a 35 degree angle to there, to a tube, which we put the oxalic acid into. You put it into there and you put this on its side, and that's like that. You then start the blow lamp, and then once it's getting warm, you put it like that. The oxalic acid will fall into the tube where it's warm. It then vaporizes, and then it comes out of the spout there. As soon as we see that, we put it into the hive. Okay? open. And then put that into there. Oh, it doesn't. No stops. So stop them. Bite them and they fall down. Just watch that. This is the vaporizing system. What you do is fill 1 or 2 spoons of oxalic acid crystals into the pan here, insert the Varroa system through the flight openings of the hive, and position the pan under the bees. Seal the entrance using strips of damp foam or cloth. Attach the battery clips to a car battery of 12 volts for exactly 2.5 minutes. Disconnect the battery and leave the Varroa in the hive for another 2 minutes. Remove all the Varroa from the hive and allow to cool down in a pan of water. Keep the hive shut with strips of foam or cloth for another 10 minutes. Right, we'll remove the front of the hive. And we've got some more. Like that. We then load the Varroa like so. That should be enough. Then put the Varroa, keeping it horizontal at all times, into the front of the hive. Goes into there. Right. We then place our foam strips either side of it. I'm sorry, Mrs. People, you'll have to stay in there with that for a minute. Okay. Yes, that's in there. Okay. We then start our timer, which, there we go. did it.